What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. We got a couple of announcements to make, and then we'll talk about our off-season muscle building and how much you could expect to gain in an off-season. Now, the first announcement, which is not the big one yet, not the big one yet. Our new sponsor, Transformix Peptides, has given us a discount code, which is Bios3 Training, for all your research peptide needs. I do not make a single dime from it. So it doesn't matter if you spend $1 or $1 million on it. I don't see a dime of that money. So the code is literally just for you to save a little bit of money. I don't even know what the discount is off there, to be honest with you. But very high powered, very good quality. And again, research purposes only, then not for human consumption. So that being said, whatever you decide to do in a country where it's legal, fine, whatever the case may be. Now, the big announcement. So last year, in 2014, obviously because it's 2015 now, I made a mistake the other day in the great clip video and said 2014 because I was half out of it in the morning when I woke up. But I was contacted by an individual that offered me a seminar for nutrition and training. I hadn't heard anything for a while. I held off on saying anything about it because I didn't know if it was actually going to happen. But I just got word this week, and the date is set for March 18th at 12:30 p.m. I have been invited to go to the U.S. Pentagon and do a seminar on training and nutrition. I'll be taking on a tour afterwards, not your run-of-the-mill tour. They're not sure whether I'll be able to video any of it because of the fact, obviously, it's the Department of Defense. It's like one of the most secure buildings in the entire fucking world. It's actually considered to be the most powerful building in the entire world. And we were invited to go in there and do a seminar. So that's going to take place then, and I'll film before and after, and maybe talk about some of the things we did then, and hopefully, possibly, if we can get the permits to actually film some of it inside there, which would be awesome. Now, moving on. That's a big announcement. I couldn't wait to do that one. That's such a big thing. It flips me out that, out of all the people in the entire fucking country or world that they could have come in there to the most secure building in the fucking world and do a seminar, that they chose me, which is, I'm honored and super humbled at this point. I'm just shocked that it's actually happening. But let's move on to the how much muscle you can expect to gain in an off-season. Now, I was just watching, I was looking through Facebook, and this individual who was he's hitting his poses, and he's sitting at fucking whatever his weight was. He's a pretty big dude. He's and still have 3 months left of growing to do. Now, judging by the pictures itself, he's already, I would say, a little bit fatter than he should be, okay? Bloated as fuck. Very few lines on his body anywhere, and he's got 3 more months. Now, here's the pitfall that a lot of people fall into. For some reason, everybody and their brother seems to think that they can gain 15 to 25 pounds in an off-season. And let me tell you, that very, very, very rarely happens. When you first start training, you may gain 25 pounds in that first year, 30 pounds, whatever the case may be, of solid tissue. And that's if you went on drugs. But very rarely, even the guys that have great genetics and are on drugs, as they progress, don't gain as much as they come to that genetic max. Even on drugs, there's a genetic max that you'll hit. Not everybody can just keep growing until they're 700 pounds and shred it. It doesn't work that way. There's a point where the body just stops. I'm not really sure how it works, but it doesn't matter how much drugs you take, it stops. But what happens is, and we see this post-contest a lot of the guys, they post up fucking pictures for 3 months afterwards. That's right, 2 months post-show, sitting 35 pounds heavier, still lean. It's of course you're lean. It's taken a while for your metabolism to slow down. You depleted your muscles of all the water and all the carbohydrates that were in them for a long period of time. You were depleted. You tried to gym a bunch in it last minute, and most of them didn't take. So you think that, well, this is all new muscle tissue you're putting on. Basically, you've just carved up and super compensated the water in your muscle to the point where it looks a lot bigger, but it's not. It's like taking a piece of steak. When you take a piece of steak and you pull it out of the package and you look at it, it's a certain size. You throw that on the grill and come back later, it's shrunk up to about half the size because it pulls all the water that's left in that muscle tissue out of there. So a lot of these guys think that they're growing and they're really not. So I think it was Dorian Yates. I think he was the first one to come out and actually gain that. I think it was 13 pounds that he gained. So it wasn't even 25 pounds. It's 13 pounds that he transformed within a year's time. And ever since then, everybody thinks that they can gain a whole shitload of weight. Not necessarily true. Now, Dorian even said that he had over-dieted in 92. So when he came in 1993, what he did was just not over-diet. He came in just as hard, but 13 pounds heavier. Dramatic transformation. Now everybody and their brother was out to do that. Now, what some of these guys do is inflate the muscle with like insulin, sugar carbs, tons of water. They throw creatine and stuff in there too. Anything they can to inflate that muscle, put some synthol in there, and all of a sudden they look like they've gained 20 pounds. And then they say they've gained 20 pounds because that's what it looks like, but really it's like 5 or 6 pounds. 6 pounds on a frame of lean muscle tissue is a dramatic difference in a year. But now what happens is all the lies start coming out. I mean, so many of these guys lie about their weight, the size of their arms, but you know, how much they fucking gained, how much they fucking squat. I mean, there's so many bullshit lies that I think that the fucking Bigfoot is more realistic than some of the fucking shit that these people say. But they're still out there saying it. And what happens is it gives you the type of attitude, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Well, they're not really doing it, right? So they're doing something else that's totally, you know, there's a million things going on, but it's not what you actually think is going on. So now what happens is they get all blown up going to the contest. They go in the contest. Then they eat after the contest and blow up even more because now they get some more fat in their system. So gaining a little bit of fat on top of it. But the bottom line is this guy that's on Facebook posting these pictures talking about 3 months left to grow. How much muscle do you think you're going to synthesize in 3 months? You're not going to synthesize maybe a pound, like a lean pound. But as long as he keeps pumping those drugs, he's going to inflate and think he's building that muscle. And when his ass goes to diet down, if he's going to be hard enough on stage, he's going to deflate. And he's only going to be, maybe for that whole year of training and busting his ass and eating all that food and hurting his joints and killing himself in the gym, he's going to be a couple pounds heavier, if that. And I guarantee you, even if he stepped on the scale and was 1 pound heavier, he's going to fucking tell everybody that he was fucking 10 pounds heavier. It's just a big bullshit game. So be aware that off season, if you're not on gear and you can gain 1 to 2 pounds of lean muscle tissue in a year, you're doing something fucking awesome. I'm telling you right now, you will look dramatically different if you're 2 pounds heavier on that scale in the same condition. If you're on gear, 5 pounds in a year, think about it. 3 years is 15 pounds of lean muscle tissue. 4 years is 20 pounds of lean muscle tissue. That's why a lot of people say it's a marathon, not a sprint, because those are the guys that are not bullshitting about their weight. Those are the guys that it took them 10, 11, 12 years to put on that 30-something pounds. I think Dorian altogether total said that by the end of his career, he'd gained 70 pounds of muscle. Now, in the beginning, that was like maybe 35, 40 pounds in the very beginning when he started doing gear and training hard. And now the last, 30 pounds or 25 pounds or whatever it was, that came over time. 5 pounds here, 4 pounds there. And if that guy trained as hard as he could with the recovery he was doing, with the stuff that he was on, his genetics, wasn't gaining 15, 25, 30 pounds of fucking off-season, then these motherfuckers nowadays who can't hold a candle to him aren't doing it either. Be aware, they're full of shit. Biostraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostraining.com is a blog. This is the Pentagon Bicep. Super excited, and we're out.